I am a disciple of Jesus Christ. I won't look back.
But you've got unreconciled relationships. You're fighting. You need to break it up. And if you humble yourself and you break it up, He's going to lift you up in honor.
MPPA in the LBK. MPPA in the
Well, I want to welcome those of you watching via video at Church Online or eLife on TV or one of our campuses. We're glad that you're joining us today. You know, I think today we're going to have a lot of fun. I think we're going to laugh a lot. You're going to hear from some people that maybe you've never heard before. But it's been my prayer all week long in preparing for this message that we would leave differently than when we came in. I know we say that a lot. I know Clayton just said it. But we would leave differently than when we came in. That we would grab hold of this vision and we would run with it as fast and as hard as we can. So to get started, I just want to start with a confession. All right, you know, we've been through the experiment series. We've been kind of through a season of confession. And I know many of you are sitting here thinking, like, this is a safe place. Confession is good. And many of you are there thinking, I love it when a pastor has a confession. I love it. Because you're sitting there thinking, my life's not near as jacked up as I thought it would be if he's got something to confess, right? And so I have a confession to make, but I want this to be more of an invitation, okay? I want this to be an invitation. So if this is something that you struggle with, something that resonates with you, I'm going to say my confession, then I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. And if you agree with this or you struggle with this, I want you to say out loud, me too. All right? So my confession is that I can be very selfish. 1, 2, 3. This is going to go well. I like it. Me too. Like I like things to be done my way. I can be a very selfish person. And sometimes at the core of who I am, I can be selfish. It can be all about me. I want things done my way, when I want them done, how I want them done, where I want them done. Like I want it to be done my way, right? I want it to fit in my box. I want it to fit in my schedule. I want it to be comfortable for me. And I can just be a very selfish person. I remember driving down the road one day, and here's the thing that you have to understand about me, is that I could drive from here to New York City, Lubbock, Texas to New York City, and never turn on the radio. Like I just don't have to have music. But there's every now and again, you know, when you're driving down the road and you turn on the radio and you just find your jam, right? You know what I'm talking about? You're like, that's it. I like it. I mean, and you just get into it, right? I remember one time I was driving down the road with a friend of mine in my car, the one I paid for, okay? And we're driving down the road and my jam comes on. All right, we're listening to music and my jam comes on. And I'm jamming out to this song. I don't even remember what it was. Probably that Whippin' Nay Nay or something like that. I mean, it was my jam, okay? And he reaches over and touches the radio dial. No. And I mean, if looks could kill, the dude would have been a dead man, okay? Like, I'm like, I will pull this car over and beat you down right here. You do not touch the stuff in my car, all right? You just don't. And so I want to give you like 3 rules to live real quick. I mean, this is free. You don't really have to pay for this. Like 3 rules to live by, okay? That will extend your life, I promise, all right? Number 1, never touch another man's radio. Just don't do it. Number 2, never touch another man's remote, all right? That's just a big no-no, okay? Like it's bad enough. Like I try to be hospitable and things like that, and I have people come to my house. It's bad enough when somebody comes and sits in your chair. You know what I mean? They come and sit in your chair, and then they have, I don't know what you would call it, the audacity to touch your remote and change the TV. What are you thinking? You don't do that. And the third thing, don't touch another man's food, all right? You just don't touch another man's food, all right? I didn't get 6'5", 250 pounds by sharing my food, okay? It didn't happen that way, all right? And so if we're out to eat and I order something and you're with me, or if we're at home and we're getting our food together, like I didn't get my plate together. I didn't order my meal with you in mind, okay? I didn't. All right, so if you reach over to my plate with your fork, my fork is going to be stuck in your hand, all right? That's just the way it works. You don't touch another man's food. I remember Emily and I, my wife, will go out to eat every now and again. And every now and again, I'll let us get a dessert that we share because I'm cheap. And I'll draw this imaginary line down the middle of this dessert. Like, I won't tell you. And I'll draw this line. It's like 60% mine, 40% hers. Because I'm bigger. It just makes sense. I'm bigger, okay? So I get more of the dessert. And one time I remember I took my knife and just drew it right down the middle of the ice cream. Hey, baby, you can have it. I'm kidding. All right. She looked at me like, oh, no, you didn't. You can have it, okay? But I'm a selfish person. I'm a very selfish person. And there's times that I read passages in the Bible, verses in the Bible that I don't like, that they bother me. I want to take a look at one of those passages today. Maybe you've read the Bible before, and there's just verses in the Bible that bother you. They mess you up. And this is a verse that bothers me. And check it out. Luke chapter 9, verse 23. It says, then he said to the crowd, if any of you wants to be my follower. Now I like that part of it. If any of you wants to be my follower, because it means everybody that wants to be a Christian, okay? It's not just like pastors, missionaries, church planners, that kind of thing. It says, if any of you wants to be my follower, this is the part I struggle with. You must turn from your selfish ways. Take up your cross daily. Not when it's comfortable for you, not when it feels good for you, but daily. And follow me. You must turn from your selfish ways. Take up your cross daily and follow me. That bothers me. That bothers me because I, at the core of who I am a selfish person. But you see, at the very core of Christianity is unselfishness. It's unselfishness. I mean, I want you to think about Jesus, all right? Think about Jesus for just a second. He went to a cross. They made fun of him. They beat him. They spit on him. And they nailed him to a piece of wood. He did all of that to say, I love you. The most unselfish act recorded in history. You know, if that was me in that position, like if God asked me, hey, I need you to go to the cross, I need you to die, and I need you to do this to pay the fine of all these people's sins that may never even know you, that may make fun of you, that don't want to have anything to do with you, I'd have been like, no way. You've lost your mind. That's not going to happen. But at the very core of Christianity, we see unselfishness. And I think the essence of Christianity can be summed up in one phrase. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's not about the things that I like. It's not about the things that's comfortable for me. You know, in that verse where it talks about if anyone wants to follow me, they must turn from their selfish ways, deny themselves. Like it would have been much easier if that would have said, if you want to follow me, go get a massage because it feels good. Go indulge yourself. Do something that makes you feel good. Do something that's comfortable for you. But he didn't. He says, turn from your selfish ways because it's not about me. It's not about me. Jesus owned his mission. He owned it. He said, I'm going to do whatever you ask me to do. I'm going to be unselfish. I'm going to do whatever it is you ask me to do. If that means going to a cross for the world, for all mankind, then I'm in. As we read in that verse earlier, if we want to be a follower of Jesus, then we've got to realize it's not about us. And here at Experience Life, we call that being an owner of the mission. Being an owner. We want to be an owner of the mission, not a renter. Not a renter. And you're thinking, what in the world are you talking about? Like, does that mean if I'm an owner, if I give enough money and I put enough money in, then like I get dividends and I pay my membership dues and all like, no. That's not it. I want to explain it like this, owners versus renters. Think about when you rent a car, okay? You drive that car a little bit differently, right? So you go to the counter, you fill out the paperwork, you buy the cheap insurance, and you spin the tires, you see how fast you can drive it, you see if you can go like the 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. I mean, you just drive it a little bit differently because you don't care. You don't care if the oil's changed. You don't care if it doesn't work. Like, you don't care if somebody spills something. You just don't care, right? You buy the cheap insurance, and if you get in a wreck and you have a ding and you take it back and you say, here's your car, sorry about you. I mean, you just don't care. But when you own something, when you own your car, you take care of it. You get the oil changed in it, hopefully. You wash your car every now and again. When somebody spills something in it, you get angry. When somebody touches your radio, it's like, no way. But it's different, right? When you own something, it's different. And we want to be owners here at Experience Life. We want to own the mission that God has called us to, and that's to reach tons of people. We don't want to just read. I mean, think about if you were to invite a friend to come into this place for the very first time, what would you want them to experience? I mean, yes, they're going to get great music. They're going to have a cool message, a great message. They're going to get to experience great kids ministry. But would you want them to experience owners or renters? Somebody who doesn't care anything about them. Hey, glad you're here. Go sit down. Hey, glad. Go park over there. Or would you want somebody to own it? Wave at them, smile, invest in this place, invest in them and say, you know what? I care about you. I love you. You're welcome here. Come just as you are. We want to own the mission. So here in a second, in the next couple of minutes, I want to just let you hear from some of our owners, some of our volunteers here at Experience Life. So would you help me welcome to the stage some of our owners here at eLife? With me, I have Mr. Fred Gonzalez, Emily Hart, and Roger Bennett. And I want you to hear from them because I can sit up here and tell you how awesome volunteering is, how awesome serving is, how you should own the mission. But I want you to hear from them why they do what they do every single weekend. So Fred, kind of tell us where you serve on the weekends and how long you've been serving there.
Well, I've been volunteering here at Experience Life, the Southwest Campus, for a little over 6 years now. I first started volunteering in eKids as a small group leader. I now am a large group leader. I actually get to get up in front of the kids and actually share Jesus with them on stage and praise and worship with them. And I'm also plugged in with the youth as a 6th grade youth leader for Takeover, the youth ministry here.
That's right. So what is it that, you can give a shout out to the student ministry and shout out for Fred. So what is it that inspired you or motivated you to take your next step in volunteering?
Well, you know, Pastor Kyle, I look at myself and I see the way Jesus lived when he came. Jesus called each and every one of us to serve. Matter of fact, he told us, go out and be fishermen of men. And that tells me that when Jesus came, he didn't come to be served. He came to serve others like me and you. So that encourages me to be able to plug in where I'm at. I look back at my life and I see the many years that I ran from God and lost everything. I lost sight of God's plan for my life. And I remember falling to my knees and I remember just asking God, return to me the joy of my salvation. Please return to me the joy of my salvation. And he did. He plugged me in with, above all, kids. And it's wonderful just to be able to just get in front of them and share Jesus with them. And then just to be able to experience that first kid say, yes, I need Jesus in my life. Oh man, it's all worth it.
Cool. So Emily, tell us kind of where you serve and how long you've been serving there.
So I've been serving for a little over a year now. I serve with the eKids ministry as well. I first started with the babies, rocking them and changing diapers. It was awesome. And then I've just been transitioned into leading a large group with 2nd and 5th graders. And I love your kids. It's amazing. They're great.
So what has been kind of the most rewarding part of volunteering for you?
Well, when I was with working with babies, I loved giving parents the gift of peace and reassurance that for a brief time, you can go child-free, worry-free, go and have a Jesus experience without any distractions. As a parent, that's huge. I mean, I'm a mother of 3, and that was a big deal to be able to let my kid to someone else and be able to experience God. I mean, that's amazing. I loved giving that gift. What a gift. And then now, working with elementary students, I love being a part of building their foundation in Christ. When you see those light bulbs come on, when they realize the true love of Jesus, when they actually grasp that concept of grace, when they start to treat each other with kindness, because that's what Jesus has asked us to do. When you listen to these kids, their words are dripping with faith. They believe it because God said it. If you are having any problems believing in who God is or what he said, come hang out with these kids because they have a greater faith than I could ever hope to have. And I think selfishly, I hang around these kids because my faith has grown so much more because of them. I think I've learned more from them than they've actually learned from me.
Yeah. So Roger, tell us kind of where you serve at the church and how long you've been serving.
Me and my wife and a friend of ours probably 2.5 years ago started with First Impressions, and that kind of led into prayer team, and that kind of led into Next Step Center. And then they started talking about this Freedom Campus, and I wanted to be a part of that, so I helped with that. And then recently, last Tuesday, started helping with Raider Church, and it's been awesome.
Cool. Kind of like the jack of all trades here at eLife. I like it. So what experience has really encouraged you as you volunteer here? What is it kind of like a highlight of volunteering here at eLife for you?
Well, when you get to see God move in people's life and they accept Christ in their life and you see them grow, and especially like in Freedom Campus there at Lubbock County Detention, they give their life to the Lord and they begin to grow. You see them week by week growing, and then they get out. Some of them get out and they show up here at Southwest with their family and still serving God. It's an awesome thing to see God move. It's kind of addicting, really, to see God move, and you want more of it.
Awesome. Well, I have one. Yeah, you can go ahead and clap. I have one last question for these guys, and I want you to hear from them. And so, Fred, what is it that you would say to the person that hasn't taken their next step in volunteering, or who's scared to take that next step, or just said no to volunteering? What would you say to them?
Pastor Kyle, that's a question that I always had asked myself before I started volunteering. And I'd have to ask myself, Fred, look at your past. Is there anything that you would change? Would you do things any different? And the truth is, there are a lot of things that I wish I could have changed, but I can't. But I will tell you this. God has given us an opportunity to be able to share a gift that he gave us. And his name is Jesus. I live on that. Jeremiah 29:11. It's my foundation. For then I know the plans I have for you. They're plans of good, not of disaster. It's a plan for a hope. Each and every one of us have that opportunity to be able to come in and share Jesus with elementary students or in Takeover. Maybe it's us shaking somebody's hand at the front door, or waving at somebody as we're assisting them in parking. Whether it's shaking a mom or a dad's hand or giving them a hug when they drop their kids off in eKids. God has a plan and He has a purpose for each and every one of us. And just to be able to share Jesus with them and to hear them say yes, knowing that they need a Lord and a Savior, it's priceless. Absolutely priceless.
That's awesome. Emily, what would you say to somebody that's kind of on the fence of volunteering or serving here at Eli?
I would have to say that serving it's not about you. It's not about what you do or what you bring. It's all about positioning yourself to allow God to change a life through you. You see God at His very best when you surrender your plans, your time, your fears, your emotions. God is at His very best, and you see Him work in powerful ways. You get to witness Him heal the broken. You get to witness Him bring purpose to the lonely. You get to witness Him turn frowns into smiles. You get to witness Him love on someone and they feel loved maybe for the very first time. You get to see the lost be found. And you would never, ever see that if you weren't volunteering, if you weren't serving. You see all of God's heart when you put yourself in that position. And I just want to encourage you, don't allow your excuses to cheat you out of experiencing all that God has for you and to see all of His heart. If you are serious about experiencing all of God, then serving is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
That's good. Roger, what would you say to the person that might be thinking about taking their next step or is on the fence about volunteering? What would you say?
I've been a Christian for 47 years, and I'm ashamed to say that most of those years, my service consisted of sitting in a pew and writing a check. And I would encourage you, or I want to let you know that there's a lot more to a relationship than that, whether it's with your wife or with God. And I would encourage you to just try it. Just try that. There's lots of places to work around here, and they'll let you do it. And it's not going to be like you think it is. It's going to be a lot easier. You just show up, and God does the rest, and it's pretty awesome. I'd encourage you to at least try it.
Awesome. Will you help me thank them for sharing here today? And just a disclaimer, I didn't write any of those for them. I didn't pay them to say that. They own the mission, all right? And here's what I want you to know is we're going to be a church that's pursuing people who are far from Jesus all the time. Like that's our mission. We're going to do that. We're going to go after that with everything that we can. Chris had a vision when he started this church to reach 10,000 people in 10 years. 10,000 people, commitments to Christ. 10,000 people say yes to Jesus. Many of you may be sitting here today. But we couldn't have done that without people owning the mission. And here's what I would tell you, is that we're not finished. That we're not finished. We're about 8 years in. We've seen over 9,000 people say yes to Jesus. And that's incredible, but we're not finished. Thousands of people, your friends, family members, and coworkers, all across the city, state, country, world, who haven't heard about Jesus. And we're looking for owners of the mission. So here's my question. Will you serve here at Eli? Will you get in the game? Will you start volunteering? And I'm not doing this talk just because we need more volunteers or we're low on volunteers. Fall launch is next week and we just need more volunteers. I'm not doing it because of that. I want you to see your full potential in Christ. And you'll never be able to do that by just sitting in a seat every single weekend. It won't happen. It won't happen. And I think it would be a huge loss if we opened up the doors and every single weekend all we did was just come and sit and attend. It's okay if you're new to Eli or new to the whole Christian walk, being a Christ follower. It's okay to be a renter for a little while. But at some point we have to step in to ownership. We have to. Because that's what God has called us to do. And I'm just asking you, will you get in the game? Will you get in the game? Will you join us? Will you serve if you're not serving? And be an owner of this mission. You know, I was playing football growing up and all through college. You know the thing that I hated the most? I mean, I didn't like practice. I didn't like two-a-days. I didn't like working out. I didn't like the meal plans that they made us do. I didn't like all that. But the thing that I hated the most was when the coach told me I wasn't playing that week, when I had to sit on the sidelines. Or when I was in the game and he pulled me out and I had to sit and watch the game from the sidelines. That's no fun. I mean, it's cool to watch, but it's not near as exciting as being in the game and making a difference, knowing that I could be a game changer. So I'm asking you, will you be a game changer? Not just a renter, but an owner. I want to kind of finish kind of where I started with some Me Too statements. And if this is something that you resonate with or you agree with, I want you to say out loud, me too, okay? The first one is this: I think Coke is better than Pepsi. Me too. Who thinks Pepsi's better than Coke? Raise your hands. All right, you know we say no perfect people allowed here, but we've got to draw the line at some point, okay? I'm kidding. Second one. I'm tired of hearing about the next presidential election. Elect somebody already. Number 3. I believe the college football season is the best time of the year. Man, I need to do some more. Y'all get going when we get this going. Number 4. I want to see more people come to know Jesus. Me too. And I want to end with what I think is an incredible Me Too statement. It's a quote by John Ortberg, who's a pastor and an author. I'm going to read this quote, and at the end I'm going to give you a chance to say me too, if you agree with it. So here it goes. I am a mess on my own. I am powerless over my own ego, and my life is unmanageable, and I need God. Left to myself, I will waste my one and only life in stupid ways. I will damage and neglect relationships. I will make my idols of success and my reputation. I will dishonor my sexuality. I will use words which I'm supposed to use for God to deceive people. I will use people for my own advancement when I'm supposed to serve the church. And I will serve myself instead of serving others, instead of serving you. Greed will rule my wallet, and resentments will fill my heart in a nanosecond. Pride will govern my choices, and selfishness will dominate my life. And left to myself, I will spend a pathetic existence trying to polish my outer image and hide so no one can see what an egocentric sinner I am on the inside. And if successful in this, I will go to my grave a respectable fraud. I'm a mess, and I need God. And everybody said, me too. Me too. Listen, I think the only way to embrace this ownership idea, this Me Too statement, is to realize it's not about me. It's not about us. It's all about Jesus and what he's calling us to do. And listen, there's some of you here today who you need to quit playing games with Jesus and declare him as Lord. All right, maybe you're here for the first time, or maybe you've been coming for a long time, and you've just been playing games, and you've never committed your life to Jesus. Your whole life, it's been all about you. You think if I can just do enough good stuff, if I can just do this, if I can just do this, if it's all about me, then maybe I can get to heaven. Listen, in order to get to heaven, the Bible says that you have to have moral perfection. Good luck. Good luck. And so God sent his one and only son, Jesus, to do the most unselfish act recorded in history. To die on a cross. To say that I love you. So it didn't have to be about you. Because if it's all about you, then we're going to spend an eternity one day in a place called hell, separated from Jesus forever. But Jesus went to the cross, so it didn't have to be about you. And so maybe you're here today and you say, you know what? I get that. I'm a sinner. I've messed up. And today I need to acknowledge that Jesus paid that fine for me. And I want to commit my life to him today. It's no longer going to be about me, but today it's going to be about Jesus. And I want to spend an eternity in a place called heaven. I want my life to be changed. I want to commit my life to him. If that's you, on your connection card in your chair, there's a spot that says, I'm committing my life to Christ today. I would encourage you to check that box, take it back to our Next Step Center of all our campuses. And there's somebody there that will celebrate that decision with you, because we believe that's the best decision you'll make in your entire life. It's not about you. It doesn't have to be about you. Thank God it's not about us. He gave us a way out. And then there's some of you today who you've been a Christian a long time, maybe like Roger. And you've just been coming and sitting and observing, but you haven't got in the game. You're sitting on the sidelines. Listen, we're pursuing 10,000 plus people right now to come to know Jesus. We want you to be a part. Would you get in the game? Would you stop making excuses and get in the game? Be an owner. Maybe today you need to take your next step in volunteering. On your connection card, there's a spot that says, I want to start volunteering. And it's got different areas that we have, whether it's parking team, if that's your thing, waving at people when they come in, passing out programs at the door, a safety team, hanging out with kids, pushing buttons on the computer. I mean, whatever it is, we've got a spot for you. And it's not so much that we are just begging people to be on a volunteer team. We want it for you. Because we want you to be a part of changing lives. Because we know if you help change lives, it changes yours also. But get in the game. Stop waiting. Don't wait another weekend. Get in the game. And it's my prayer that we would stand before God today. We look at him as coach. Say, Coach, put me in the game. Put me in the game. I'm tired of sitting on the sidelines. Put me in the game. I want to be a game changer. Don't put somebody up. Put me in the game. I want in. I'm all in. I want to be an owner. Put me in the game. Put me in the game. Because I want to see tons of people come to know Jesus and our lives to be changed as well. Put me in the game. Let's pray. God, thanks so much for sending your one and only Son, Jesus, to die on the cross, to be a game changer. God, so that we didn't have to be separated from you for an eternity. And God, I pray for those of us that are here today that maybe need to take that next step and commit their life to you, God, that they would do that today. And God, for those of us who have already done that, but we're just sitting on the sidelines, God, I pray that we would stand and jump and leap and with our hands held high, God, put me in the game. Put me in the game. God, and that's our prayer. And we don't leave this place without knowing we're in the game. God, because we know our mission is to see tons of people who are far from you come to know you. And we want to be a part of that. We want to own that mission. Put us in the game. We love you. And it's your name we pray. Amen.
Thanks for checking out one of our messages today. For more information about our church or to watch other messages, you can go to our website at experiencelifenow.com. Let us know if we can serve you in any way, and we hope to see you real soon.